Good evening to all. So I'll be presenting a case of monogenic lupus. So 16-year-old female presented with chief complaints of on and off fever for past 2 months, 2 episodes of left focal seizures 10 days prior to presentation with progressive left-sided weakness. There was no history of chronic infections such as like tuberculosis, but there was significant history of large joint painful swelling on and off for past 2 years, which resolved with NSAIDs. There was history of fever-triggered generalized seizures at 9 years of age, but she was not on any medication. In addition, parents complained that she had poor growth since childhood and did not attain menarche till date. She was born of non-consanguineous wedding. Mother had an IUD at 9th-month gestation, and one of the proband sibling, female sibling, expired due to febrile illness at 6 months. She has another younger male sibling who is healthy. On examination, she was found to be in hypertensive emergency, which was managed according to protocol. Anthropometry revealed wasting. In addition, she also had severe proportionate stunting with height corresponding to minus 5.8 standard deviation. She had sparse hair and Tanner staging corresponded to stage 2. Her visual perception was poor, only to light in both eyes, with fundus revealing grade 4 hypertensive retinopathy, and she had left upper motor neurons 6th and 7th cranial nerve palsy with left spasticity and wrist reflexes. In addition, she also had firm hepatosplenomegaly. So hemorrhagic stroke secondary to hypertension was suspected, probably due to an underlying autoimmune etiology. So an emergency plain CT was done. The picture I have not shown here, but that revealed a large intraparenchymal bleed in the right frontoparietal region. So this is a proband. Her basic investigation revealed anemia, a high TLC count, and DSR was very high. Though the kidney function was normal, urine analysis revealed significant proteinuria and also microscopic hematuria. So because of these findings, we went ahead and did renal biopsy to rule out lupus nephritis after controlling her blood pressure. Her light microscopy revealed mesangial-proliferative glomerular nephritis with segmental sclerosis, and immunofluorescence revealed predominant mesangial IgA deposits, which was confirmed by electron microscopy. So this was to our surprise, where in lupus nephritis, we predominantly expect a houseful pattern of polyclonal immunoglobulin. So this was more suggestive of IgA nephropathy. So to confirm, we did autoimmune workup where ANA screening was positive, dsDNA was high, her SSA, anti-SSA was positive, APLA and lupus anticoagulant was negative with normal C3 and C4. So with this, she fulfilled the SLIC diagnostic criteria for systemic lupus erythematosus. However, in view of severe stunting and primary amenorrhea, we did an endocrinological workup, which revealed hyperthyroidtropinemia, and her FSH was in the prepubertal range. While reviewing her old records, we came across this X-ray, which was done for short stature workup. We can see the irregularities involving the vertebral end plates. So we went ahead and did a whole skeletal survey, where we identified this mild metaphyseal irregularities involving the distal end of radius and ulna. And CT, which was done at 9 years because of the febrile seizures, we can also see that this shows bilateral basal ganglion calcification. So because of all these findings, monogenic lupus was suspected, and we could narrow a differential to type 1 interferonopathy and probably spondyloenchondrodysplasia with immune dysregulation. So instead of proceeding to whole exome testing, we found that the gene causing this disorder has just 4 exons. So in-house, we ourselves designed the primers and did Sanger sequencing, where we can see that this particular patient harbored a compound heterozygous variant. One is a nonsense and another a missense in exon 3 and 4 respectively. And in silico prediction tools, protein modeling was done, and segregation in parents all were found that these 2 variants were deleterious. So this shows that genome testing can sometimes be even economical. So with the confirmation of this final diagnosis, a little bit about this disorder. It is an autosomal recessive multisystem disorder where the immunological manifestation at one end can be in the form of severe immunodeficiency, and others, and end of the spectrum, there can be autoimmune manifestation. And because of the defective gene, there is deficient tartarate resistant acid phosphatase activity, which causes impaired cartilage resorption, especially the metaphyseal end, causing the skeletal dysplasia. Whereas the autoimmune and CNS manifestation is due to excessive type 1 interferon production. So the largest case series, they also found that this autoimmune is the most common presentation, and with many individuals manifesting more than 3 types of autoimmune disorders. And even amongst those with SLE, only 36% fulfilled the diagnostic criteria for SLE. So in our case, it was a skeletal survey, which was a starting hint for further working up this case. Another interesting finding was this IgA nephropathy in patients with SLE. Only 10 cases are reported till date. And the reason in our case probably be due to her propensity to develop multiple autoimmune disorders and generalized immune dysfunction. So identification of this type of finding is very important because we know that the management of lupus nephritis is generally immunosuppressive agents are required, whereas in IgA nephropathy, most of the time the management is conservative. So our case was also managed conservatively, and later we started her on hydroxychloroquine. So to conclude, monogenic lupus should be suspected, especially when we have atypical findings in the case of autoimmune SLE. And these individuals have to be monitored lifelong because of their propensity to develop multiple autoimmune manifestations. Thank you so much.